So today we're going to be cutting out the door opening. I thought I'd show you the little tiny door. The door is 56 inches tall and about 19 and a half inches wide. So it's just a little tiny door, and it is just the thickness of the plywood. It has a metal stiffener in it to keep the door straight, which you can see it's still pretty straight after all these years. So we're going to cut open the new panel over there. So we're going to make a pattern for that and cut this thing out so that it's nice and square. These are some of the tools that I've been using. Just an old Black & Decker router that I had, a cheap set of router bushings. These were on Amazon. They were pretty inexpensive. I'll throw them in the link. So they end up going right here in the router. And then I was using this one, which goes right here. So this one is the 3/8, and I was using that with a quarter router bit. Now though, I am switching to this because I'm cutting the door. I want there to be a nice fine gap in the door, so I'm going down to an 1/8 inch bit, which will use this, which is a 5/16 OD, and the hole is quarter, and so the router bit just fits through it. So this is my guide that I run on my plywood patterns. Well, as you can see, the sides came together nicely and the door cutout is great. So let's go in and look at a few details. So the door came out very nice and square. I'll be able to completely use the pieces I cut out to build the door, similar to the way the original was built. So I'm going to get ready here and seam the upper half and the lower half together. And so I'm doing that again, similar to the way they did it. Plywood, this is cut at 2.5 inches, so I have some overlap. You can see right there. So that will come up to there. You can also see I put a little bit of a rounded edge on it so it will look nice. And then back on the back and on the front, I made just like a nice little shape to it, because on some of the pictures I found that was a detail that they had, and so I just tried to make it something that would look period correct and give it a little nice look. So this is going to get glued and screwed. I'm going to screw through the top because the outside is going to be painted, so I'll be able to fill those screw holes in, smooth them off before I paint. So here we go. Okay, well I have that piece down. You can see all the little screws in it, but I also screwed up big time. I was not paying attention to my countersinking bit. As I was drilling, apparently I was pushing it right in, and that slipped. That should have been down here like this. So I just drilled through my entire panel. That's exactly what I was trying to avoid. Now I'll have quite a few little holes on the inside that will have to be filled. And I have to go back through and take all these screws out because, as you can see, that is a tapered bit and it works perfectly out at the end for these screws, but as it gets deeper it gets bigger, and so I had to go ahead and go to the next size up screw and put a couple of bigger screws just to hold it so that it holds it down tight for the glue. So very disappointing. Pay attention to your work.
Before I put the walls on or the fender boxes, I figured it'd be much easier to cut the linoleum on a nice flat surface. So got that all laid out real flat, cut it to the correct size, and I'll put that back in later.
So I am actually using a Craig joint going this way into the plywood and this way into the side walls. On this space right here, I will still nail it the way the original one is. I just think the Craig joint is going to be a little bit more secure, and it's going to be less holes that I have to put into where weather will see it. So we're going to get these glued and screwed on. All right, before we install the wall on the side, I took this opportunity to do a first coat of paint on the fender boxes, and then also go around and make sure that all my seams underneath were all sealed up nice with paint. Okay, earlier when I showed you how my countersink bit had come through, there are some of the holes. Some of them just barely popped through. I mean, super close, so you can kind of see them. If you get back just a little bit, they completely disappear. Up here is how it should have looked. I paid very close attention when I was doing this one, and as you can see, there's no marks. All right, well, the sides went on pretty nicely, and I gotta say, they're pretty strong. I was gonna put some bracing across the top just to hold everything while the glue dried, but actually they're very firm. So we got the sides all screwed, and they're glued, of course, as well. All the bolts are going through into the frame, holding everything together. This side, if you take a close look, no holes through, so my countersink bit, I was very careful with it this time, so I didn't have any trouble. So that's gonna about do it for this video, you guys. The next one is going to be the cabinets. That's what I'm gonna start next, is building the cabinets for the inside. And then this has a little booth in the back that folds into a bed. So I wanna do that before I put the roof on, just to give myself a little bit of headroom for working on it. So again, thanks for watching.